Uh-oh. I'm having some sort of error with my live stream. Bear with me. I have to refresh my live stream. I'm not sure what you all can see right now. Okay, it should be okay now. Sorry about that. My apologies. Everything should be okay now. Welcome back. Welcome back. It is Saturday night. Right now, 10:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My time zone. I wanted to hop on here late at night, sort of try to give a different audience opportunity to chime in. And it looks like I have Animal Uncontrol in the building. Be sure to subscribe and listen to Animal Uncontrol in the building. Sub-Zero, right? Shout out to you, Serena. Anti-Mutt Nut, big shout out to you. Make sure you check out Anti-Mutt Nut's channel as well. La, I see you. Boxing IQ, Elisa, Leah, Ashar, Majestic Jaguar, Champagne in the building. Buster Gundo, let's get into this. I invited a bunch of nutters. I invited a whole bunch of nutters to this live stream. As always, I'm going to do this every time I go live. And I think now is a good time to start because I am on the verge of acquiring over 10,000 subscribers. And there's just something about having over 10,000 subscribers that makes people listen and respect whatever you have to say about them when and if they call you out. So my increased audience is going to be used to try to pressure dog lovers in different organizations, different people, professionals, put pressure on them to respond. Because I don't talk here just to hear myself talk. My goal is to make professionals look and sound incompetent. I'm not going to waste time with the everyday dog nutter. But sometimes I will address an article written by someone who's not an expert. I'm going to do that on this stream as well. But I invited a bunch of dog lovers. Of course, the Kennel Club, National Geographic, and a few shelters and pro pit bull organizations, if you want to call them that. Now, pit bulls are inherently more dangerous. This is a very basic stream that needed to be made. And this statement needs to be made. Because they have made it, y'all have heard this idea that if you say something enough times, people will believe it. It doesn't have to make sense. Just say it over and over, and people will believe it. This is an example, in my opinion. They love to say that pit bulls are not inherently more dangerous. That's another one of their slogans, pretty much. No, they are. And it's pretty obvious. Pro pit bull people, they basically cross their fingers and say, I hope my pit bull doesn't attack me or anyone else. If they do anything, some of them, they just don't care. Some of them maybe even in the back of their mind hoping that someone gets mutilated because they'll get more attention. But the pit bull lovers who don't want to be attacked and does not want the pit bull to attack their children or anyone else, they just hope. Sit back with their fingers crossed. Well, I hope my pit bull is not one of the pit bulls that attacks. That's all they do. Aside from that, they have no information on their side. Now, I want to start with this. I found this. I can't remember where I found this. Here it is right here. FatalPitBullAttacks.com. FatalPitBullAttacks.com. This surfaced 2014. This alone is alarming. When you see things or statistics in graphs, sometimes it hits harder. That's the point of creating these things, to give you a visual of the differences. And this is alarming. This right here is children under 2 years old. This is pit bull related fatalities. This one here is from age 3 to age 10. Okay? So really, discussion should be over. There's really nothing else to talk about. And this is from the year 2000 to the year 2014. There is nothing else to talk about. You have a group of child predators. Undeniable. And the fact that this demographic, this age demographic, only makes up some 17% of the population, there is nothing to talk about. Anything you pit bull lovers say is nothing but babble at this point, and we haven't even gotten started. There's so many ways that the truth needs to be explained to these people, and that's pretty much what a lot of you hear. You know, you just bear with my rants. You bear with me because you know that's what I'm doing, right? And when you can explain something, you can make the same argument for or against something in several ways using different examples. That is because whatever you're talking about is accurate. They know that. These pit bull lovers, they play dumb. You know, I have a few articles that I'm going to go over, but I'm not going to read all this nonsense, because that is showing their narrative far too much respect. I've been already doing that, showing too much respect to their nonsense. And most of them, they know it's nonsense. But Time Magazine thought that they would chime in. Now, I believe that this is a recent article, if I'm not mistaken. When was this? Yeah. This surfaced in March of this year. Well, wait a minute. No, that's a different one. Okay, so I don't know when this surfaced. I do think it was recent. But look at what they said. Bites. This is a pro pit bull article. Time Magazine said bites and attacks are effects to which there are always causes. Always causes. Haven't we heard this before? There's always a cause. Whether an owner understands the reason for the behavior or not, there is always an underlying cause to a bite or an attack. Pain and fear are two leading causes. Pain and fear. Question: how did you find that out? How did you discover that? A simple question. How did you discover that? Because there's literally no way to find that out. So you are taking a wild guess, aren't you? The dog attacks, the reports, never involve a narrative. I've never heard the narrative that the dog was in pain at the time, or that it was afraid. This stupid narrative about dogs being afraid, I've been talking about this for years, and recently a video surfaced. I believe it's gone viral. Shout out to whoever shared this with me. I think it was Yusuf, if I'm not mistaken. Mambo shares a lot of stuff with me on Twitter. and I want to share this video with you. Again, this is a recent video. Where are we at here? Right here. While we're talking about these attacks being provoked, allegedly, according to Time Magazine. I think I retweeted this. Did I retweet it? I didn't even retweet it. Maybe you've seen this. Okay. No, we're going to go full screen with this. I'm going to retweet it now. Okay. As far as I'm aware, this is new footage. Watch this. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to play that music. Sorry about that. Okay, watch this. Now, y'all saw that. There's a dog here and a dog here. The boy is walking slowly. You can see how hesitant he is. Now, they said dogs attack out of fear or pain. They're either in pain or they are afraid of something. Is that what it looked like to you? You know what it is? This boy looked scared. You know how dog lovers say that dogs can tell, they can detect when you're afraid? And this boy, he was walking like he was afraid of the dogs. I don't know where this is, India or wherever. Countries like this, you're crazy for allowing dogs to just live in your society like this, where your kids are just walking around and they can be attacked at any time. You are crazy. And it's shocking to me. Now, I don't know if they're being forced to do this by powerful governments or what, but if they have the option to get rid of these things, they need to do it. This dog simply saw a scared child and decided to attack him. That's all that happened. Because this boy is terrified, even slowed down. That dog was not afraid of this child. The dog attacked the child because it was not afraid of the child. Stop with this. And this is the case with every video I've ever shown on this channel. Every video that I've shared, every report that I've read involved an attack where the child was not doing anything to the dog. The dog attacked completely unprovoked. Completely unprovoked. So this is where I'm getting my information from, actual footage and reports. Time Magazine, where are you getting your information? Simple question. You can't just go around writing stuff like this and expect to get away with it. Expect to not be challenged. Right? You're a massive media outlet. People are going to hold what you write up to scrutiny. This is madness. Shout out to The Walrus. They published this article in May of this year. Okay, that's The Walrus. They wrote an article, "Pit bulls are not our friends. Despite what activists argue, statistics show." Did y'all see that? Statistics show that the dogs are dangerous and should be banned. Now, this is from the anti-pit bull crusader Barbara Kay. Barbara Kay, we all know Barbara Kay. She is a devoted crusader against these pit bulls. Said the power that comes, now this is from Caesar. This is from Caesar, a dog expert. He said the power that comes behind a pit bull fighting breed, they have an extra boost. They can go into a zone. They don't feel pain anymore. Do y'all know I've read a pro pit bull website where they said that it's not true that pit bulls don't feel any pain when they attack? They actually said that. These are just pathological liars. It's as simple as that. He said they don't feel pain anymore. If you're trying to create submission in a fighting breed, it's not going to happen. They would rather die than surrender. If you add pain, it only infuriates them. To them, pain is that adrenaline rush they are looking for. Looking forward to that. They are addicted to it, addicted to pain. So, as somebody else pointed out, these pit bull lovers, they claim that it has nothing to do with the breed. But yet when a pit bull starts to attack, all the owner does is sit back and watch for the most part. They are totally useless. They are helpless. They cannot stop the pit bull from attacking. So what does that tell you? How does anyone have the room or the nerve to argue that these things are safe to be in society when they themselves can't neutralize an attack? So if you, the owner, can't stop the thing, why should it be legal? So these are unique dogs. What Caesar just explained is why they are inherently more dangerous. There's no way around that. Even your own experts, this is one of your top experts, they are inherently more dangerous. It's not rocket science, pit bull lovers. You all know these are facts. Now, y'all remember that story I talked about on a recent live stream where back in 1997, I got the dates wrong. I said the 1970s. 1997, a child was killed by a pit bull. Her mother, Louise, was wrongly charged for her death because the pediatric forensic pathologist on the case, now disgraced for his incompetence, concluded that the 80 bite wounds on the child's body were scissor stabs. She was sent to prison because they thought she stabbed her own daughter with scissors. Because they were like, no way a dog inflicted 80 puncture wounds. 80 puncture wounds. They were ignorant to, allegedly, according to this story, ignorant to how destructive pit bulls were. So she had to be released. They actually sent her to prison. And once they found out that it was the pit bull, they had to release her. That is a unique attack, pit bull lovers. And that is unique to pit bulls, which makes them inherently more dangerous. I don't want to hear this narrative about, oh, Chihuahuas bite more often. Stop with that. Shame on you and all of you pit nutters for pushing that silly, childish narrative. I told y'all these people, they think like children. For you to say that, that is a very childish thing to say. Well, Chihuahuas bite more often. You're usually not going to have 80 puncture wounds when a poodle or Chihuahua attacks you. Y'all cut that out. I am not going to take their narratives as seriously as I used to. It's just too ridiculous. And it's insulting. I hope y'all can understand what I'm talking about. It's insulting. It's like me playing dumb. No, I'm not going to play dumb. Y'all know full well how dumb your talking points sound. Stop it. And that goes for all of you. I don't care how big you are. Let's deal with the American Kennel Club. Now, if y'all don't know, these breeders, the professional breeders, those are the people who they advise you to purchase dogs from, right? Go to the breeders. They will link up with the American Kennel Club. It sort of adds to their credentials as a breeder, showing that they abide by the guidelines laid out by the American Kennel Club. Well, on their website, they have this article right here. And just to show you that no matter how big your name is, you still sound like a lunatic when you try to defend pit bulls in society. You're going to sound very incompetent and childish. Why does BSL fail? They are against breed-specific laws. First and foremost, they say, it's difficult to enforce. Stop there. No, it's not. No, it's not. What are you talking about? They say many animal control agencies use a very vague list of breed characteristics to determine whether a dog is considered a certain breed. The time spent on breed identification takes time away from important tasks that could impact that. What are you talking about? The time spent on breed identification? Nobody has a problem identifying a bully breed. What does it take? A fraction of a second. Pretty much as soon as you lay eyes on one. We don't need to go through and test the dog's genetics. We don't need to know exactly what mixes they have. If their genes of pit bull is so strong that they have a blocky head, they're identifiable, they should be illegal. They attack the same as pit bulls. You know that is the reason why we're saying that they should be banned, not because how they look. That's nothing to do with their appearance. It's how they attack. And it's not a problem. Don't worry. It's not a problem. It's not going to take extra time to identify it. They're talking about takes time away from important tasks that could impact the community for the better. Like what? Say it is also difficult for the public officials to enforce such provisions in a fair, effective manner. No, it's not. And what do you mean? Take time away from important tasks that could impact the community for the better. What are you talking about? Tasks like what? What would impact the community for the better is if pit bulls, all bully breeds, are not there. I don't want to hear about any of your other ideas. None of them matter. What are you talking about? You talking about removing something other than pit bulls? That's supposed to make it safer for us to have pit bulls in society? What is that supposed to mean, people? I told y'all, these people babble. It's unbelievable to me. It is unbelievable. It's mind-blowing to me. I remember when I first read, I read this for the first time years ago. I read it like 3 or 4 times because I thought to myself, I must not be understanding what they're saying. Because it sounds so, it's almost just like I said, babble. It's hard to comprehend. It's like tricky type of language. The time spent on breed identification takes time away from important tasks that can end. What task are you talking about? They don't explain it. They just move on. See how they wrote second? They're done with this point, and nobody understands what they're talking about. Bravo, American Kennel Club. Good for you. This is embarrassing. You need to remove it from your website. Now it gets worse. They say, second, breed-specific legislation is extremely costly to the community. According to Best Friends, oh, here we go, blah, blah, and Maryland spends more than 20, wait a minute, it's extremely costly to the community? How? What are you talking about? Best Friends spend more than $250,000 annually to enforce their pit bull ban. What? Now, this is clearly over my head, people. Why does it cost money to enforce? I don't care how much it costs. I'm willing to pay. Use my tax dollars for everything else. You want to take my tax dollars and all of a sudden you got billions to give to Ukrainians, people not even citizens. No disrespect to the Ukrainians. I'm just saying, we throw our money away on all kinds of things. I don't want to hear nothing. And $250,000, that's small money. Stop it. This makes no sense. You don't think the money is worth it? We're throwing it everywhere else. You don't think it's worth it to spend money to put an end to these mutilations? See, I can't take this. I can't even respect this argument. You follow me? I cannot respect this. Coming from anyone. What a pathetic argument. Too costly. When it's implemented in a community, the shelter costs for the community increase when stop. Look, problem solved. Our plan is to drive them into extinction. So I don't even want to hear all of this nonsense. I don't want to hear about no shelters. Shelters will be used for other things, aside from holding them pit bulls in them. That's basically all they're used for right now. They're basically pit bull shelters all across the country. So I don't want to hear that either. Goofy. It looked like they're fishing. They're just fishing for stuff. Now, third, this is the last one. Breed-specific laws provides a false sense of security. The time and money spent enforcing it means less time and money spent on enforcing better alternatives to keeping a community safe. What alternative? Strongly enforced animal control laws, such as leash laws. Oh my goodness. You see, I can't respect these arguments anymore. They're talking about a better alternative to removing pit bulls from the community is to have better leash laws. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Knowing full well that's something you can't enforce. You want to talk about what we can't enforce. You can't enforce that. There's nothing stopping a person from allowing their dog to run outside off leash. You know how much money it will cost to enforce that? What are they talking about? Doesn't it sound like someone on heavy narcotics or some type of drug wrote this? Immediately contradict themselves. They up here talking about, oh, it'll cost too much money to enforce the law, which it would not. Cost no money to say, hey, you can't own one of those dogs. You get caught with them, you get arrested, charged, and it gets confiscated. How much money is that supposed to cost? Stop it. I don't care what it costs. We should pay it. What are you worried about it for? American Kennel Club? You getting all this free money. They ain't coming out of your pocket. People, what is wrong with these goofy pit nutters? But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, leash laws, generic guidelines on dealing with dangerous dogs of any breed. Okay, we're supposed to spend our time on generic guidelines on dealing with dangerous dogs of any breed. So you're saying we shouldn't focus on pit bulls and how dangerous they are? Why shouldn't we? When pit bulls have a unique biting style. and a unique biting style and temperament. Why wouldn't we focus on the most dangerous dogs that were also bred to fight and to fight to the death? How does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? Why is there always some type of obvious question about everything they bring up, every argument they put forth? There is a serious problem, a lack of thought. It's incoherent babble. What are you talking about? Generic guidelines, stop. Wow. And what is it supposed to do? Okay, let's say we study dangerous dogs. How is that supposed to help you to neutralize a charging pit bull darting at you at the speed of light? All of a sudden, this wonderful knowledge in your head's going to help you to neutralize that thing? What are these people talking about? They say also increased public education efforts to promote responsible dog ownership are all better ways to connect. What? Doesn't this is word salad. Increased public education efforts to promote response. If you are in possession of one of these killers, these killing machines, these hellhounds, these evil beasts, you are irresponsible. If you have it on a leash, guess what? It can break free. It can drag you to a target. You all know this. You all know that you're not going to enforce a leash law, and it wouldn't help anyways, looking at how incapable most dog owners are of controlling a pit bull, even if it's on a leash. Education to promote responsible dog ownership. See, when you have to explain, look at all this, look at how long this is. This article is about why bans on bully breeds affect us. Like it's a bad thing for the community. Look at how long this article is. When you have to do all this babbling, it's probably because you're lying. If you have the truth, it doesn't take that long to lay it out. They have to persuade you. They have to con you. Uniformly enforced animal control laws will force all owners, regardless of breed they own, to be responsible owners, while also preventing irresponsible owners from simply turning to a different. How are we supposed to enforce that? And if they do turn to a different breed, so what? Your point? If it's not a bully breed, severe mutilations at the very least would reduce, because bully breeds are inherently more dangerous. They've inherited this ability that they have to maul in a particular way, hold and shake. They essentially lock their jaws. These things have locking jaws. We're going to resurrect that narrative. They lock their jaws, right? Something that's not typical with other dogs. And they shake, hold and shake. You can literally lift them clean off the ground. They will hold on to whatever they're biting with their mouth, and their body will not touch the ground. That's how much force they're using. That's how much their jaws are locked. Nutters. And then you have to go get a key, also known as a bite stick, and try to open their mouths. Meanwhile, the target is still being mutilated. You failed to prevent an attack. as Chef pointed out, a lot of people point things out that just does not pop into my head during the live stream. Why aren't we talking about what we need to do to prevent an attack? Everything they talk about is what you do, punish the deed, not the breed. So the idea is that people have to first be mutilated. They know it's going to happen. Well, let's just wait till someone gets attacked and then let's respond to it like an isolated individual abnormal thing. Oh, it was an accident. Oh, something must have happened to it in its past. This happens 10 times more often with bully breeds, and we're never supposed to look at the breed. Stop it. Stop it. That is nonsense. I can't believe they've been able to con the world for this long. So that's the American Kennel Club, right? And I also saw this goofy article surface today or yesterday. When was this? Now, I'm not going to go in too hard on this author because it's just a little child. But you listen, hercampus.com, you need to be careful about who you allow to write articles. See all this babbling? I'm not going to read all this nonsense. I'm telling you now, it's a bunch of nonsense. And it's real bad. It's real bad with this one because it's a child. I'm going to let y'all read it yourself. As you read it, you can tell it's a child who doesn't know what she's talking about at all. She argues that everything that's said about pit bulls is a myth, just like all the other pit bull lovers do. Oh, it's all a myth. They're sweet dogs. They're not aggressive. Do all this babbling, and they never provide any evidence. Now, you see this where they provide a link. One study shows that in 2015, more dog attacks on humans were reported from Jack Russells than from other breeds. Right? Talking about pit bulls. The same old rhetoric, same old talking points. That's all that these people do. Regurgitate each other's debunked, worthless, illogical talking points. That's when you know you're dealing with people who brainwashed. Because it's so obviously flawed. It's like, what's wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? Why would they keep saying something like this over and over again? As if we don't know that there's a big difference between a Jack Russell attacking you and a pit bull attacking you. It's like, are you trying to be sarcastic? Is that what that is? Wow. Shame on these people, man. Shame on these people. I'm going to share this in the chat room as well. For anyone to publish something like this today, you have to be out of your mind. With the way pit bulls around the country are going haywire right now, man, they are attacking people left and right. It just won't stop. Over there in India, this surfaced a couple days ago. Today. This surfaced today. Pit bull attacks 12 people. Just running around attacking people. Attacking everybody at sea. So I guess, according to them, each one of these 12 people did something to provoke the dog. They somehow threatened and violated the dog in some way. This thing just running through villages. It attacked 12 people across 5 villages. 5 villages. Leaving them seriously injured. We're supposed to ignore this. We're supposed to assume that somebody abused these mutants. No, we're not going to do that. Well, I thought this dude was sitting there and man, this is terrible. Okay? It's rare that you hear about and this was just one pit bull. It's rare that you hear about one Labrador just attacking people. When these dogs attack in like a frenzy, we saw that video where that dog was going around attacking random people. They're usually pit bulls. Pit bulls have a unique tenacity. They have a bloodthirst and don't respond to appeasement behavior. That's unique to pit bulls. This also surfaced today. Renewed warnings about pit bulls after another child is killed. You know, for somebody to be dumb enough to write articles like this. Now, what's the name of this? Pit bulls, man's best friend. Well, this is embarrassing, this article right here. And again, I don't want to go too deep because it's so goofy and brainless. I feel like I'm picking on this child who wrote it. The child, she was like 24 years old. But yeah, where was this? Latest shot killing of a child by a pit bull raised concerns about the breed. 10-year-old Storm Nuku was mauled to death by the family's two pit bulls. Family pit bulls. Okay. So they had been around the child. The dogs are known to be bred for fighting, and people are cautioned against adoption without knowing the dog's lineage. Oh, my goodness. So if you know that they're bred for fighting, which is the dog's lineage, right? If you know that, somehow it's safe to adopt them. No, it don't matter if you know it or not. They're not safe to own. I don't care if you know the dog's history, if you got muscles, you're strong. These things are a safety hazard. You nutters in your crazy, childish arguments. Look, I'm going to start just treating them like childish arguments. That's what they are. Right? So, yeah, good for them. And good for this news, this media outlet, who actually made a lengthy article about an attack. They're usually very brief. Very, very brief. Because they don't like to talk about dogs in a negative way. Right, I'll go ahead and share a link to that as well. You have to be out of your mind. And this is that article from The Walrus that I was talking about. I'm going to share a link to that as well. Yes, let's get this information out here right now. How many people heard of this? Or how many people remember this? I reported on this back when it happened. And this article surfaced yesterday. Okay, I haven't watched it yet, but I read it. Let's watch the
dogs attacked him earlier this month,
broadcast.
Leaving him in serious condition.
And as News 19's Addison Woolman reports, the boy's family is very...
Wait a minute. Okay.
10-year-old's now back home after recovering after a group of dogs attacked him earlier this month, leaving him in serious condition.
And as News 19's Addison Woolman reports, the boy's family is very glad to have him back.
9-year-old Gavin had to go through over 4 hours of surgery after being attacked by 6 dogs earlier this September. But after more than 5 days in the hospital, Gavin is back home running, riding bikes, and recovering with his family.
We're super excited to have him home. And
they said after 5 days in the hospital, pit bull lovers, if someone would have told me that he was in the hospital for 5 days, I would know that he was attacked by a pit bull. All of these severe attacks, it's usually a bully breed responsible. That includes Rottweilers.
Definitely be out of that hospital room for sure. We're happy we get to be with our other kids, and he gets to be with his brothers and sisters. That's made him a lot happier too.
His mom, Stephanie, says she often thinks back to the day her son was attacked, and although it was a terrible incident, she says she's glad it didn't turn out any worse.
I'm happy to see him getting back to his normal self for sure, and it makes it a little easier that he's made such a good comeback. I mean, he's really a tough kid.
She also says she's extremely grateful to all the staff who helped take care of Gavin. She says the nurses and doctors were constantly there to give support and encouragement, and even cheered for him as he left the hospital.
I couldn't have asked for a better experience for sure. I loved how they spent time to explain things to him and try to make it so much easier on him. They really did.
Explain what? What'd they explain? I'd like to know that. If they didn't explain to him that he need to stay away from dogs, they're not talking about nothing.
Make it much easier than it could have been.
Gavin says that he spent most of his time inside playing video games, but his mom says he's been acting more like himself every day. In Lawrence County.
And something is untrustworthy about this report. This article right here surfaced yesterday. But this attack happened back on the 10th. You heard they said the attack happened earlier this month. That attack happened on September 10th. It was September 10th, man. So that boy was in the hospital for like over 2 weeks. They're projecting it like he was just in there for a few days. I don't think so. They just recently found a woman. This the woman who owned the dogs. And this was published September 14th. September 14th, they finally arrested the woman who owned the dogs, who attacked that boy you just heard about. So he was in the hospital for a lot longer than 5 days.
Brought you at the top of the hour. An arrest has been made in connection to the dog attack in Lawrence County. 36-year-old Tanya Lynn Emery of Moulton is now facing charges. This after the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office says she violated Emily's Law. That's a law that says when a dangerous dog gets loose and attacks or causes injury to another person. In this case, 5 dogs attacked our 9-year-old victim. She was booked into the Lawrence County Jail on a $10,000 bond.
Oh my goodness. We have to get past these worthless, useless so-called solutions. You know, they have to stop with this. Now, what is this? This surfaced yesterday. Or was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago. Pitbull Federation South Africa holds owners, breeders accountable for mauling incidents. Let me say about this holding breeders accountable, this idea that all pit bulls that attack people came from some backyard breeder somewhere. Stop with that. Stop with that. Any of these dogs that are bought from reputable breeders attack. It's not a law to spay and neuter dogs after you get them from a breeder. It's not the law. These people don't have to do it. And that's where the pit bull lovers who say, well, most of the pit bulls that attack people haven't been spayed or neutered. People, do your research on that. Sometimes you spay or neuter a dog, their aggression increases. Look into that. Especially with some of the females, they become more aggressive after they're spayed, right? You spay the females, neuter the males. And many of the males, they get neutered and they become more aggressive. And you can't control that. You can't force people to spay or neuter their dogs. So they need to be banned. You talk about something that's impossible to enforce. That's one of them. And yet they all know that they cannot enforce that. Look at this goofy nutter article right here. This is another type of narrative these pit nutter lunatics be on. SPCA rescues puppy from dog fighting. They'll never have to endure that again. Oh, the poor dog, the poor pit bull was forced to fight. No, it wasn't. Let's deal with dog fighting. Dog fighting is only possible because pit bulls are so violent. Is that true or is it not? They could very well put those pit bulls in a fighting pit, and those pit bulls could just look at each other and not fight. Isn't that right? Just because you put two rabbits in a box don't mean they have to try to kill each other. And that's all they have to do is put the pit bulls in the same area and boom, they're fighting. Why is that? It's because they are inherently more aggressive. Is that true or isn't it? Now, this is controversial because we're dealing with something that's, it's like taboo. Dog fighting is supposed to be seen as something evil that's done by the person. Oh, you're so evil. And I'm not trying to dismiss the person's role in it. What I'm pointing out is the inherited aggression on part of the dogs, because ultimately it's the dog's decision to fight. And they do it every time. There's a reason why they choose pit bulls for fighting. And it's not just pit bulls that they choose. They choose bully breeds in general. When I say pit bulls, I'm talking about all of these bully breeds. They pick them for a reason because that's what they were bred for. And they are the best at it. The best at it. We've seen videos of pit bulls mauling Labradors. The Labradors will just eventually give up and just sit there and just allow the thing to maul, because other dogs don't fight like that, to where they just don't stop. They don't let go. They hold, shake, don't let go, and they don't stop with their attack. That's unusual for an animal. That's not normal animal behavior. And that's why you see a lot of animals, they'll just give up. They're like, I don't know what's wrong with this dog. That's inherited. That's part of its genetics. Pit bull lovers, look, I'm not trying to pick on you, but y'all been dishonest and lying to the public, and that's criminal. That's criminal. It's time for us to acknowledge the truth. And this is the truth. These dogs are not forced to, they don't use no special technique to force them to fight. They don't shock them to force them to fight. The dogs see another dog and they want to fight and they don't want to stop. So dog fighting itself, and it virtually always involves bully breeds. Dog fighting itself is an example of inherited aggression. Inherited aggression in these worthless mutants. Okay, pit nutters. Make sure you like and subscribe, pit nutters. I want y'all to follow, because I'm going to tag you for as long as I can every time. I want to hear from you. Y'all get in here. When I go live, I want y'all in here. I want to hear from you. After the video is uploaded, I want to see your comments in the comment section. Now I want to go over here because Pitbull Victim Awareness has uploaded more heat. I can always depend on this channel, man, on fire right now. Uploaded 4 videos today. Already today. Let's look at the viciousness, the evil nature of these mutants. They are so demonic and bloodthirsty. Let's look at it. Let's see it in real time. Now,
caught on camera, a pit bull.
All right. Officer shoots pit bull that ran out of apartment towards it. This is a real good one. A real good one. Check this out.
By an officer officer as police responded to a call in South Tampa. The dog survived, but the case is far from over. The question right now, was the shooting justified? Melanie Michael is live for us at police headquarters tonight. Hey, Mel.
Hey there. You know, Nala's owners.
Was it justified? Y'all see that video? Pitbull darted out the door towards the officer. Was it justified?
Says her dog was not mean or aggressive, but TPD begs to differ. It happened in an instant, a moment caught on body cam, where a Tampa police officer had to make a split-second decision when a pit bull named Nala came charging at her. The officer says she feared for her life.
Y'all see that woman get right in the line of fire? Y'all see that? After the cop shot the dog.
Second decision when a pit bull named Nala.
See, he shot the dog just then.
Came charging at her.
And the owner came over and threw something at the cop. Can you believe that?
The officer says she feared for her life, and there was no other option. She was forced to fire her weapon, she claims.
This is one of those cases where, you know, anytime an officer pulls out their weapon, it is their worst day ever. They don't wake up thinking that that's what they're going to do.
The officer was answering a call in South Tampa last Wednesday on St. Patrick's Day at the Bowery Bayside Apartments on West Shore. That night, a woman called 911 to report suspicious activity. On the body cam video, you can see the officer approaching the woman's front door. Then Nala bolted out.
Now, this is an example of a pit bull that can manipulate restraints and barriers. She tried to create a barrier to keep the dog inside of the home. But these things are like rats. They're truly like rats. They can squeeze through tight places. So it manipulated the barrier. You know, she tried to block the exit and ran out and ran straight towards the police officer. Now, these pit bull lovers, of course, they expect you to expect the dog to run quickly towards you, stop, and then play. They want you to assume that the pit bull's plan is to run up to you and sniff your hand. Anything that runs up to you like that, you should take it as a threat. Human or not. Human or not. But especially if it's a pit bull. So I don't want to get into their arguments. That's, of course, the argument they're trying to make. Oh, it just wanted to play.
Out and showed no signs of stopping.
There wasn't time for a taser. There wasn't time for negotiating. It was either shoot or get mauled or get attacked.
In the end, Nala survived after she was rushed to a veterinary hospital for emergency treatment. The owner claims her dog was bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. We did reach out to Nala's owner for comment. However, she did.
Yeah, people. Oh my goodness. Do y'all know, look, sometimes dogs will attack in moments like that. And sometimes they won't attack. Sometimes, and it's usually not the pit bulls that do this. Sometimes they'll run up to you and just pounce all over you. They're either attacking you or they're begging for food. They'll run up to you, jump on you, pounce on you, start sniffing on you, looking at you as a dispenser of food. But listen, it's not normal for an animal to run up to a strange animal like that. Natural animals, when they see something they've never seen before, especially when it's a human being, the last thing they do is run full speed towards them. I just want y'all to reflect on how unnatural this behavior is. And I'm making this argument, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it didn't want to attack the police officer. running at a police officer or anybody like that is going to frighten them. A person who would assume that mutt just wanted to play, that would be a stupid person. That's the type of person who would have stood there like a dummy, got mauled, and then would have been crying the blues. This officer came out of this unscathed. Good for her. But this is abnormal behavior. Are you dog lovers who expect us to accept a dog charging at us at full speed? Stop it. We are not obligated to assume that your mutt is going to charge at us full speed and stop right in front of us and play. Get out of here. That's another insulting, sarcastic, condescending narrative of theirs. You're supposed to shoot it. Bravo, cop.
Bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. We did reach out to Nala's owner for comment. However, she did not return our messages. She did establish a GoFundMe page where she described Nala as sweet, gentle, and docile.
We don't care. Nobody cares what you think about your own dog. Maybe it hasn't attacked you yet. That has nothing to do with how that dog acts towards other people. That's usually the scenario. That's usually the case. The pit bull won't attack the person that feeds it, but will attack others. Isn't that the very reason why you own them? For protection? You know full well they'll attack someone who's not its owner. So calling this mutt sweet and gentle, yeah, with you. Charging at people, that's not a sweet thing to do. That's not a gentle thing to do. What's gentle about that? That's aggressive. What is wrong with these people? You know, take a picture of this thing thinking that it looks innocent. No, it looks like a demon. And it is. It's an evil, demonic creature.
Since the officer did fire her weapon that night, she is now on administrative leave, which is standard protocol, as Internal Affairs must now decide if this shooting was justified.
It's not a cop thing. It was a safety thing.
That's right. Because I would have shot it. If it would have charged at me like that, I would have shot it. And like he said, it would have been a safety thing. Oh, yeah. Man, look at all of these videos that you talk about consistent. Have we watched this? 2 pit bulls killed by police after attacking a man. Oh, man, horrible stuff. Boy, this channel is something else.
Also, since
sorry about that.
On to a dog fight in Warwick last night, an officer ends up shooting and killing 2 pit bulls that police say were attacking another man's dog last night. Eyewitness News.
Pit bull lovers. This is another example of why these things need to be gotten rid of. When cops shoot dogs, they usually shoot a pit bull. And cops are some of the biggest dog lovers in the world. I mean, police departments and dogs are pretty much synonymous. They view dogs as police officers. They're one organization that truly humanizes dogs. If police are out here shooting dogs so often that it's called an epidemic, we can safely assume the dogs are the problem. Most definitely. And we can assume that if these cops are being forced to shoot them and that they're not doing anything to provoke these things. Cops are adults. They're not children. So you can't hide behind this idea that they must have done something to provoke the dogs. No, cops are not going around pulling on dogs' ears. They're not doing nothing to provoke these things. Yet they're still forced to shoot them. That's telling. That is telling. Okay?
News reporter Jared Kleiner is working the details now live in Warwick for us.
Danielle, good afternoon. Well, police now charting a timeline from last night, and they say it appears early in this investigation that officers' actions were, quote, lawful and necessary. 2 dogs Warwick police describe as pit bulls shot dead by an officer last night at a fenced-in home on the corner of Post Road and Titus Lane around 6 o'clock. No owners home. Police say they showed up to the 2 dogs attacking a smaller one, a man lying on the ground. One officer pulled his taser. Police say that didn't work.
This is another thing. That video that I showed on Twitter with the boy that was bitten by that dog. The dog bit him and the attack was over. Bit him and the attack was over. I don't want to show that again. I'll stop it right before, because it was like the dog sort of nipped him. Dog just nipped him and the attack was over. That wouldn't have been the case if that was a bully breed. So like in this story, the cops get the call, they get out there, and the pit bull is still launching an attack. So when cops show up in response to a call for a dog attack, it's usually a pit bull, because bully breeds are less likely to cease their attack. Does that make sense? This is inherited behavior.
Police say that didn't work, and the second pit bull turned on him. He fired his pistol twice at the second. The officer then tried to help the man. Police say the remaining pit bull attacked, lunging and trying to bite. The officer attempted physical force. It failed, and he fired his pistol twice more. The small surviving dog went to a veterinarian. Its condition unknown. Its owner went to a hospital with bites. Neighbors heard the yelling and the shots.
That adrenaline just probably got him out, and unfortunately, this is the result of what happened. We've never had no issues with him. I've lived here for a little over a year, and never had no issues with him.
Eyewitness News spotted what appeared to be a taser gun next to one of the deceased dogs. The police officer's name has not been released.
Never had any issues with the dogs. Another story where a dog's its absence of a violent history is irrelevant. Okay, so when we ban these things and we go house to house confiscating these parasitic pieces of trash, we don't want to hear any stories about how it's never shown any aggression. No, thank you. Bite him and a security guard. Have we watched this? I don't even think it was 2 days ago. Oh yeah, some of you remember this. This guy's pit bull started going berserk. What was this, like an outdoor cafe?
Exclusive cell phone video obtained by Fox 11 shows a man inside Ghirardelli's holding his pit bull, screaming at security guards not to touch him.
Now they're getting serious.
Isabella Sermon and her family say they were the last customers in the store on Hollywood Boulevard Thursday when the man seen in this cell phone video came in with his dog.
Then he went over to the other side, took the 2 water bottles, and then family left, and then he went over to the cash registers and started taking stuff from right there with the dog still in his hands.
Family says security tried to get him to leave, but the man would not listen.
If he would have just did what security asked him, it wouldn't have escalated to what it did.
Isabella says they tried arresting the man, and that's what triggered the dog to start snapping.
The dog didn't do anything.
Wait a minute. This guy, he just started taking items? I told you, these people, these pit bull, they're unstable. If they're willing to own these things, and some of them walk around with them with no leash, this guy walking around carrying the thing. It's a reflection of the fact that they're lunatics. So they won't be hard to find.
The dog didn't do anything until the guy grabbed him and put him to the floor, and that's when you heard the handcuffs getting put on. And then he kept on yelling, like, don't touch my dog. I'm keeping the dog with me. The dog's going to stay with me. So that's when the dog got defensive and tried to protect his owner.
The family left before the situation got more tense.
We tried to get our chocolates. They were having a sale, you know, how much you could stuff into a tin can. But when the dog got really violent and vicious and he started barking, we're like, we got to go.
At some point, an off-duty LAPD officer got involved. LAPD says the dog bit the security guard and officer. Both were transported to the hospital. Watch as one of them is gurneyed out from the area.
There was a heavy blood trail all around inside the building.
Joseph Rowland works in the area and says he's frequently seen the dog and owner on the sidewalk. He never thought this would happen.
I've seen this dog for about 3 months on the boulevard. I've pet the dog once. The dog was always friendly.
So because you pet it once and you saw it a few times, you never thought that it would snap? It reminded me of this rally I just saw recently that took place in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Where is that? This rally that takes place in Canada, here it is right here, take place every year all around the world. And it is aimed against breed-specific laws.
This is the Global Anti-BSL Walk. It's held across the world, across Canada.
The Global Anti-BSL Walk. And look at how deep they are. See, we have a long way to go. They have organizations, massive organizations like the Kennel Club and others that can rally and hold these things, advertise these things, say, hey, we're going to hold this, such and such at this place, be there with your pit bulls. So we're just getting started. There's a lot of room for us to do a lot of different things. Just as easily as they're having a pro pit bull rally that is this massive, we can have anti-pit bull rallies, even more massive. That's going to be the new wave, because the narrative, the talking points, the arguments of these people is goofy, brainless. It's embarrassing, cringeworthy. You don't want to be caught with these weak talking points.
England, Germany, it's to stand up against breed-specific legislation and to fight for rights of dogs, to have doggy.
Dogs don't have rights. That's the whole point here. When you carve out your territory on this earth, other predators don't have the right to exist as humans, to be given the rights of humans. No, we don't have the right to assume that dogs have the same mind as a human. We need to treat these things like dogs. Specifically with pit bulls, we need to treat them like dogs that have been bred to fight and kill. The only way to deal with a breed like that is to exterminate them, because they are inherently more dangerous.
To have dog equality. Because Mayor Coderre of Montreal wants to put in breed-specific legislation as of September, banning certain dogs. Those who are still here will have to meet certain criteria, such as wearing a muzzle in public. Several cities have also done the same, so people are now standing up for the rights of their dogs so that we're treated equally.
So that they're treated equally. Well, listen, we have statistics that prove that these things need to be exterminated. That proves that they are inherently more dangerous. So for you to talk about the rights of the dog, that's babble to me. I'm sorry, that hits my ears, babble. I mean, where you're just mindlessly, brainlessly babbling. Speaking a different language right now. That's pit nutter language. Okay, let's continue.
People are now standing up for the rights of their dogs so that we're treated equally.
I adopted this dog 2 years ago, and it's the best dog that I've ever seen. She's been used as a puppy mill, abused and everything, and she's the perfect dog, and it just goes to show that it's the owners who are responsible. And
it was used as, did y'all hear what she said? See, they like the fast talk people. They like to fast talk you. Listen to what she said.
I adopted this dog 2 years ago, and it's the best dog that I've ever seen. She's been used as in puppy mill, abused, and
She said it's been abused. She said it's been abused.
Everything, and she's the perfect dog, and it just goes to show that it's the owners who are
She said, but it's the perfect dog, and it shows that it's the owners who are responsible. In other words, she's saying even an abused dog, and this is what they all say, even an abused dog can live. They simply need to be in the home of a loving owner. That's the whole idea behind no-kill shelters. So notice how if this dog attacked someone, they would point towards its history of being abused. See how they try to use certain narratives when they want to? They're on both sides of the fence. Oh, we need no-kill shelters because they can be rehabilitated. And then when they attack, well, you can't blame the dog. After all, it was abused. Okay. And again, it doesn't even matter. You simply cannot assume that all pit bulls that attack someone, you cannot assume without any information, assume that they've been abused. You cannot assume that they had a bad owner, somebody that abused them. That's a lie. These people simultaneously, they assume that the dog didn't have a loving owner. You cannot assume that every pit bull that attacks did not have a loving owner who never hit the dog. That's insanity, especially when you look at the fact of so many of these bully breeds that attack are owned by these very harmless, seemingly harmless women. These soccer mom type women, man. Don't tell me to assume that they abusive to these mutts.
used as in puppy mill, abused, and everything.
If the dog never attacks, you point towards these people and call them loving owners. So you don't get to call them unloving and abusive when the dog attacks. How convenient is that for you?
Perfect dog, and it just goes to show that it's the owners who are responsible and not the dogs. And the laws that they're about to try to pass is just going to impact her quality of life.
You see, they act like just because they show up at an event and a pit bull doesn't tear someone's face off over the course of an hour or two, that's supposed to be an example of how pit bulls are 24/7 for the entire duration of their life. That's pit bull logic. That, hey, we had our dogs here on a leash and the dogs didn't attack. Nobody was attacked. That proves that pit bulls are harmless, and somehow all of the statistics and all of the dog attack victims, pit bull attack victims, they just vanish from the hospitals just magically, right? That's pit nutter logic.
If you look at any scientific studies, they prove that no dog is born inherently dangerous.
Wait a minute. Did you hear what she said? See, when these people, when they try to sound or they try to present facts, listen.
So if you look at any scientific studies, they prove that no dog is born inherently dangerous. It is environment and upbringing that makes the dog.
Environment and upbringing that makes the dog. No dog is inherently dangerous. Pit bulls are inherently more dangerous. All dogs are inherently dangerous. See, you got to take baby steps with these people. All dogs are inherently dangerous. They are mutants with fangs. They're carnivores. They're designed to rip flesh. That makes them all dangerous. Pit bulls are inherently more dangerous. It's real simple. Stop playing dumb.
Is environment and upbringing that brings
Environment and up. How did you find that out? Y'all are not doing background. There's no way for you to find out how a dog was brought up. When a pit bull attacks, there's literally no way for you to find out if it was ever abused. What is wrong with these people? You can't do that. Don't they understand that you can't do that in debate in the realm of philosophy? You can't just pull things out of thin air and make assumptions, completely blind assumptions like this. A huge chunk of these dogs were never abused. There are stories all over the place, especially here online, man. I try to save them when I find them. Here recently, I saved one. See if I can show you here. They leave some profound comments here on YouTube. And I'm just talking about the everyday person. You know, not people with some sort of agenda. Here, I'll share that in a minute. Let's finish this.
environment and upbringing that makes the dog. And many fear that even if they don't own a pit bull and they own another breed, that soon it'll be their breed. Because in many areas, that's what happens. They ban the pit bulls, the bites don't go down, so they go to the Rottweilers, the German Shepherds, the Mastiffs, the Dobermans. There's even some areas in the States where they ban Labradors and Golden Retrievers and Poodles because their bites went up. It doesn't work. You're targeting.
Notice how she's not talking about the severity of the bites. She's saying the same old pit narrative, bite rate stayed the same. Okay, first of all, I don't believe that, but let's say that's true. What didn't stay the same is the severity of the attacks. That plummeted. That was almost completely eradicated. That's what happens in areas where pit bulls are banned. In areas where bully breeds are banned, you also see a very low rate comparatively compared to places where they're legal. Very low rate of mutilations. Pit bull advocates never talk about that. The general public is not up in arms about a dog bite where the mutt barely broke your skin and you got like one little half of a puncture wound. They're talking to us as if we need to look at injuries like that, no different from how we look at people like Jacqueline Duran or Brooklyn Curry, people with their faces hanging off. We're supposed to act like these are the same types, we're supposed to call that a dog bite. You notice how she calls them dog bites, and it's not just her. Oh, dog bites, dog bites, dog bites. These are not simple bites. These people are being shredded. Their body is literally being put through a shredder where their limbs are quite often ripped off. What is wrong with these people?
They ban the pit bulls, the bites don't go down, so they go to the Rottweilers, the German Shepherds, the Mastiffs, the Dobermans.
No, we're going to ban the Rottweilers too. The Mastiffs, all those bully breeds. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
There's even some areas in the States where they ban Labradors and Golden Retrievers and Poodles because their bites went up. It doesn't work. You're targeting.
No, it does work. Nobody's as concerned with reducing the number of bites. We're talking about severe mutilations. That's what we're talking. And we are talking about bites. That's why I say all dogs need to be banned as well. But her narrative, her talking point, she is not proving that pit bulls are not more dangerous. She's avoiding that subject altogether. She's not talking about the severity or the style of the attack.
The wrong end of the leash. You got to go after the people, not the dog. Ready? Let's go.
What they do against the pit bulls, it's not right because they're a good dog. And
see, now, does this sound like some kind of genius to you?
It's just not right. Every big dogs can bite, and it's just not right that they just accuse the pit bull. As you can see how they get this big baby when they are in good hands.
Oh boy. Oh, man. Also keep in mind that before events, those events like this especially, events like this, before they go to events like this is when they are most likely to give their dog medication. This is when they tell you to give your dog medication. They tell you to medicate dogs shortly before an event where it's likely they'll experience heightened anxiety. Just food for thought.
I mean, if we only targeted the dogs just because they're this specific race and we don't address the problem.
Well, here we go. They equate bully breeds with races, different races. See how you can't deal with something like that seriously, a talking point like that seriously. You have to shake your head. You have to dismiss people like this. These things were bred. They were bred so specifically for fighting and killing that their physical structure is different. These muscles, huge, blocky head, the muscles in their face are extremely powerful, more powerful than other dogs. They have the frame, the physical structure of the breed. It's not like they're a fighting dog that was bred to fight and kill, yet they look the same as Labradors. No, they're built for the job. That's nothing like races. You can't compare that to different races of the world. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? When you see a black fighter and a white fighter in a cage, you don't know who's going to win. Sometimes the black fighter win, sometimes the white fighter win. There ain't no inherited advantage. You put a pit bull somewhere with a Labrador retriever and you have to put money on which dog would win, you'd be stupid if you don't put your money on the pit bull. If you got a gang of pit bulls and they're going to be put up against Labradors, you'd be stupid to put your money on the Labradors. They're playing dumb. I tell you, these people just play dumb, man.
Problem of the masters and the people who, who handle them, who train them.
Here we go with that. All pit bulls that attack were handled by some irresponsible breeder and trained to be vicious killers and all this nonsense. Something that they cannot prove and something that has been disproven several times by dog owners themselves, by media reports, news reports, left and right. Like I said, there was this comment I read recently where a young lady here, let me go to that right now, where she gave a real good post where she talked about how she was a pit bull owner whose child had been attacked. Here's the comment right here. I can't remember exactly what video she left this on. She said, no matter how well you train and raise a pit bull, they will always attack. My son survived a horrible pit bull attack. My heart goes out to the families who lost their babies and kids and everyone to a dog attack. Such a horrible thing to witness and go through. It's been 6 years and I can still hear my son screaming, crying. It haunts me just the same as my son. His nightmares, walking to the park, horrible. Now look, somebody said, actually it's false. I have a pit bull and we train him well. Still, being the kind of dog he is, he's protective and sweet. Unless you train a pit bull to be nice and protective, they won't always attack. Unless you train them to be nice and what? Look at what she said here. She said, the pit bull we had since a baby pit and trained it well, not to fight, always playful. Lucky you to not have gone through what I went through. I've heard this story several times. We raised it from a puppy. It never was abused. That's very common. And to try to base laws on an assumption that all the pit bulls that do attack were trained by some evil thug in the backyard somewhere, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And I believe personally that's a small crowd of people anyways. There are not that many backyard, not that many underground dog fighting rings, in my opinion. I don't believe that at all. Now, there was a crazy story that came out that I watched here recently. Where is that? Oh no, here it is right here. Well, wait a minute. Where is that story? It's horrible. Where is it? Y'all remember that old story where this might be it. Let me see.
Man who is now credited with saving a special needs boy from 2 vicious dogs is speaking for the first time about those very terrifying moments. This is Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock. I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan.
And I'm John Stair. Russell Hill made a split-second decision, and now he says he's paying for it in many ways. Eyewitness News reporter Sandra Chapman has more on his resolve, his rehabilitation, and his one regret.
So I picked up the biggest one I could see, a log, and I ran over there and hit him. Hit the dogs.
Okay, come on, honey. It's okay. Come on, honey.
The memory of 2 vicious pit bulls turning on him, knocking him to the ground, and tearing into his flesh causes overwhelming emotion for Russell Hill.
It was tearing me apart.
The bandages on his hands, arms, feet, and legs, a constant reminder of how close he came to death after coming to the rescue of 13-year-old Jaylon Lewis.
All of this is gone.
Hill was near his garage that Sunday afternoon in the 3000 block of Gladstone Avenue with no thoughts of being a hero when he heard something he couldn't ignore.
I didn't even think about none of that stuff.
Okay, this is horrible. This is not what I want to show. This is a horrible story. They're all horrible. They're all horrible. But do y'all remember this? Well, this is one of the worst cases I ever covered. This was like a nightmare. And again, this kind of stuff, it's almost always a bully breed involved, almost always. And that's why you hear about it. Because it's so gruesome.
Elementary school children. Now, the kids were walking to their bus stop in Atlanta yesterday. 6-year-old Logan Bratz was killed and 5-year-old Sarah Sanders was critically hurt. DeMarco Morgan shows us how this tragedy unfolded.
Back here behind this house is where I found him at.
Man, this is horrific stuff. So they heard some screaming. They heard screaming from the kids. So a bunch of adults ran outside and started looking, trying to find out where the screams were coming from. And from what it sounds like, the screaming stopped before they found the children.
You found.
You heard her say that she found the little boy's body back here. Gruesome murder scene types. This is horror movie type stuff.
This house is where I found him at.
You found him.
I found him.
Angelica Bratz discovered the body of her 6-year-old son Logan shortly after he left the house for school.
Oh man, that was her son. Shortly after he left the house, walked to a bus stop. Again, this is not that type of world where you can just let your kids walk to bus stops. You got to be there with them. If you can't afford to take them to school, this is not that kind of world. Man, can you You know how traumatizing that is? Find your son, your child's body, mutilated body, in the backyard behind somebody's house somewhere. You run outside, you heard screaming coming from somewhere. You don't know who is screaming, what's going on. You looking around, you find your own child's body. Whatever is willing to do that should be illegal. I said this before. Anything willing to mutilate, attack a child should be illegal. That's common sense. And especially the case with bully breeds.
We heard screaming from the house, and everybody came running. I saw the one child laying.
See, said they heard screaming from the house. Let me rewind that.
Running. I saw the
Tuesday morning.
We heard screaming from the house, and everybody came running. I saw the one child laying on the ground.
Man, so she saw the other child laying on the ground. So, you know, imagine every time I hear stories like this, I always picture myself going through the same thing that they went through. Just another day, child goes out, walks to the bus stop. Everybody hears screaming. You know a child screaming when you hear a child screaming. Everybody hears screaming, a bunch of screaming. They run outside, screaming, scream. The screaming stops. Now you're walking around looking, trying to find out where the screams were coming from. And you start to find bodies covered in blood. Something willing to do that. I don't care if your pit bull never attacked anybody ever. It's willing to. Anything willing to do that. And we can say that because they don't have a moral compass. Because they're deadly, they're willing to do it. They don't understand morals. They don't have a moral compass. They don't love. They're actually designed and bred to kill and to not have remorse. They should be banned. Simple as that.
And then everybody's still trying to find the other kids.
5-year-old Sarai Sanders was found by neighbors, badly injured and unresponsive.
I ran to the baby and I looked down at her to see what I could do for her. And when I looked at her, I knew that there was nothing I could do.
Sanders was rushed to an area hospital.
And see, the thing is, even during the attack, adults usually feel like they can't do nothing to save them. While the mauling is going down, while the dog is mauling the child, many adults will stand back and stay back. So that speaks to how deadly and inherently dangerous these things are. If it were a Chihuahua, people would are more likely to intervene. They will walk up. See, that's why those stories usually don't make the news. You get a poodle, most likely an adult just walk up and grab it. So it's the capabilities of these things that should be factored in to why they're banned and driven into extinction.
She remains in critical condition.
The dogs were just still chasing like everybody. It was nothing we can do because they kept coming back.
See? There was nothing we could do because they kept coming back. The dogs kept coming back to the bodies of the children.
Kept coming back.
Atlanta police quickly responded, shooting and injuring.
That guy missed. That guy missed 5 times. So these things are even difficult. They can be difficult to even shoot. You see that dog sort of trying to dodge bullets? Are you crazy?
Kept coming back.
Atlanta police.
You see how that dog moved? Are you crazy? Something with this kind of maneuverability and is deadly? You don't take the chance.
Atlanta police quickly responded, shooting and injuring one of the 2 dogs suspected in the attacks.
Some brave kids. Some kids ran back to the scene.
Man, all you countries out there, you allow these things into your land, into your country, because you're listening to this goofy pro pit bull, pro dog nut propaganda. Shame on you.
Try to pull the dogs off the children that was injured.
Police arrested the owner of the dogs, Cameron Tucker.
Doesn't this guy look like a lunatic? You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his eyes. A suicidal lunatic who just don't care about life at all. I don't care what his reasons are. We got a lot of mentally ill people in the country. We have to identify them and act accordingly.
Charging him with 2 counts of reckless endangerment. The 2 pit bull mixers are in the custody of animal control, while investigators determine if a 3rd dog was involved in the attacks. For CBS.
Now, as someone pointed out, there were 2 pit bulls. There were 2 pit bulls involved. Y'all know how much more dangerous it is when 2 pit bulls attack? When there's 2 of them, they work together so that they can literally rip the victim apart. They will usually tear and rip in opposite directions. Opposite directions. And this is instinct. Their tenacity, their attack style, it's all instinct. And anything can set them off. Minimal stimulation is required. Very minimal. And no matter how they're raised, any one of them can snap. This era of dog moms, of viewing pit bulls, project them like angels and sweet, harmless babies, is more rampant today than ever. Over the past, I would say, 10, 15, 20 years, it's been worse than ever. Never has so many people viewed pit bulls as sweet babies. This is the most loving era for pit bulls. This is the height of love and pampering. This is the height of raising pit bulls with love, rather than being an alpha and being a disciplined figure. Again, I would say past 15 years, because Caesar was all about being the alpha. And starting around 2010, somewhere around there, this idea of raising them with love really took off. It really took off. And today, we got more attacks than ever. So it doesn't work. This idea that you need better training, it has all been tried. None of it works. Y'all been saying the same thing for 15, 20 years. Oh, it's all about the owner. You just got to raise them with love. Okay, well, it's an awful lot of you saying that. You got these massive organizations behind you. Why isn't it working? Why are attacks constantly increasing? And where are all these backyard breeders that you talk about? I don't see them nowhere. You notice how they never get arrested. They talk as if these backyard breeders are just crawling all over the place. Well, they get arrested. How come we don't hear story after story of these backyard breeders getting busted? That's the myth. You want to talk about myths? Constantly pointing the finger at any and everything other than the dog. What neighbor shot a pit bull attacking a woman? Man, I love these videos. When 2 pit bulls killed 3-year-old. Oh my goodness. Man, I haven't seen a lot of these.
A 73-year-old woman survived a vicious dog attack thanks to her armed neighbor.
Yeah, police say a neighbor came out and shot a pit bull that was attacking the woman while there was a second dog circling. Fox 4's Min In Wen spoke to police and joins us now live from...
Now, why do pit bull advocates, why do they blame the media for saying pit bull? It was clearly a bully breed. It's always a bully breed. If it's not technically a pit bull, it's always a bully breed. Why y'all so mad at the media for saying this?
The Arlington.
They're doing the right thing. And these media people, they're pro-dog. Don't try to blame them. They always point the finger at pro-dog people, just like cops. Cops are pro-dog. Don't try to point them and paint them as the villain when they're forced to shoot one of these things.
Police department. Lynn In.
Steve, Heather, the owner of the dogs turned them over to Animal Services where they have been euthanized. The woman attacked, meanwhile, is expected to survive, but she does have serious injuries, including multiple bites to her head and her body.
I went with my gut, and it was to save my neighbor.
Surveillance video shows a neighbor running to help a 73-year-old woman who's being attacked by a pit bull Sunday.
Then I saw her hands fly up and I heard screaming. So then I was like, Mom, the old lady's being attacked.
These neighbors didn't want their faces shown, but described the moment they jumped into action.
I ran outside, I grabbed my gun, I pulled the dogs off of...
Didn't want their faces shown. Why? Because they killed a pit bull. Boy, oh boy. The general public is shook. They seriously intimidated the general public. You're a hero. What are you afraid to show your face for? It was mauling the old lady.
My neighbor, and as I pulled them off, they came back again. I kicked the dog, and when I kicked and turned around, I put the neighbor behind me, and I shot the dog one time in his torso area.
If you hadn't have been here, I mean, what do you think would have happened?
I think she might have passed away. It could have been worse, because they were going for her neck and her face.
Other neighbors heard a single gunshot from inside their homes.
The neighbor across the street here was sitting in a chair, and people were putting rags and shirts and stuff to keep the bleeding away.
Police say while one dog attacked the woman, another circled them. Both dogs were still alive.
Man, shouldn't old people be allowed to get their mail without worrying about this happening? That's more important. I might be old someday. I want to be able to walk out and get my mail and not worry about this happening. This can only happen if dogs are in the community, primarily pit bulls, bully breeds. They're the most likely to do stuff like this. That's just the way it is. None of the other animals really bother us. But no, they think the pit bulls are more important. They think the dogs are more important than their kids. Of course, they're not going to think about a neighbor.
Live when picked up by Animal Services. Investigators spoke with the dog's owner, who says they got out of the house by mistake.
Suppose they were locked inside part of the house, is what we were told.
Got out by mistake. That happens. That's why they should be banned. That's why there's no such thing as a responsible dog owner. These are humans. Human error is automatically factored in. In all businesses, all companies that work with people, they factor in human error because it can't be avoided.
The house by mistake.
Suppose they were locked inside.
Oh, they got out of here by mistake? Look at that. Look at they could probably squeeze through this gate. And look how short they can jump right over this thing. Are you crazy? Wow. Yeah, we're supposed to depend on this to keep us safe.
Out of the house by mistake.
Suppose they were locked inside part of the house, is what we were told, and that somebody must have accidentally not gotten the door closed all the way or not kept it locked to where the dogs could get out. As far as I know, it was just basically an accident.
Arlington police haven't confirmed whether previous
Oh, it's no accident. It's not an accident. What are they talking
complaints
about?
had been filed against the dogs. But the neighbor who shot the dog tells Fox 4 her son was attacked about a year ago, requiring him to get more than 20 stitches.
I feel bad for the dog, but of course a human life and my son's life.
Feel bad for dog? Why? Okay, why do these people act like dogs' lives are valuable? That's a big problem too. They act like the life of a dog is valuable. It's not. It's not valuable to anything. Not the ecosystem, nothing. Now, the life of other animals is valuable to the earth, to the ecosystem. Not dogs. Stop with this idea that their life is valuable. Talking about their life as if it's valuable is disrespectful to attack victims and really disrespectful to everybody who has to drink contaminated water. You know, who has to worry about things like this, who has to breathe contaminated air. These people talk like dogs are humans. That needs to stop. You don't look at the steak on your plate like a fellow human. No, it's an animal. Animals are beneath us. Most of all, dogs are beneath us. Dogs are beneath animals. Dogs are the furthest away from humans as possible. Natural animals are more like humans than dogs. I heard somebody recently say they wanted to describe how friendly pigs were. It's like, yeah, pigs are friendly. Pigs are friendly. And they said, well, hey, pigs are friendlier than dogs. As if dogs are the friendliest animals on earth to human beings. No, they're the most aggressive. People are just brainwashed. They're brainwashed. I mean, you should automatically know how dangerous and aggressive dogs are. Just knowing how dogs are. They bark. They'll try to attack for absolutely no reason. It's not happening with other animals. So stop with that. Stop ignoring facts. Stop ignoring the experts. The experts are experts for a reason. They go through all the schooling and education so that they can graduate and sum everything up for us. The doctors thoroughly explain how and why pit bulls are inherently more dangerous.
Hello, hello there.
Uh-oh.
Hi, I'm just wondering if Jesse lives here. Do you happen to know Jesse?
Oh, yeah. Y'all remember this. Y'all remember this.
He's your son. You know where he lives?
Wait a minute. Let's get to the good part. Okay, here we go again. Here we go again. Okay, I don't want to show. I still don't want to show it, but you can't see the shot, but I guess I heard he shot the dog in the mouth and the dog lived or something like that. But here's another example. These things coming out and running directly towards people. And we're supposed to assume that this is a friendly behavior. This thing is its plan is to run at top speed towards me. And it's just going to stop when it gets to me? Really? Really? Don't shoot them. See, their lives, they've been given so much room and authority. And they've been favored for so long. They feel like they can say anything and it's supposed to stick. They feel like they can say that when a pit bull runs at you like this, they feel like they can say it just wanted to play. It just wanted to greet you. They were just excited to see you. And the fact is, I don't care what it is. Nothing. I don't want anything that's deadly running at me at top speed. Right? No, thank you. If that happens to anyone, they're justified to shoot it, to neutralize it. Yeah, I just wanted to go over a few of these videos. I haven't been here in a while, and there's always some crazy videos here. Right? Sort of put icing on the cake for these pit bull people. You know, I don't need to put on a elaborate presentation because for the most part, they just play dumb. They know that they play dumb.
WAPT special report. After 3 pit bull attacks over 3 weeks, there is a new push to ban the breed in some Mississippi counties.
But at 16, WAPT's Scott Simmons reports the two sides are ready to fight over a dog ban.
In Holmes County, these 2 pit bulls attacked and killed a 3-year-old child inside his own backyard. 1 week later, in Simpson County, deputies arrested a man and his girlfriend after their pit bulls mauled his 4-year-old granddaughter. 2 incidents this month that are fanning the flames of a firestorm.
Man, pit bull lovers, are we supposed to ignore all this? Are we supposed to, believe that these things are acceptable just because your pit bull has not attacked you yet?
Push to ban pit bulls in several communities.
You think these dogs should be banned? I think they should be banned. I get numerous calls from people about these dogs.
Aggressive dogs have been in the headlines a lot lately, like these dogs that attacked a man in Jackson.
I had my walking stick. Yep. And so like I told the law, he got lucky I didn't have my gun on me, because if I had, I'd put him down.
Police and animal control had to surround those 2 dogs just to get them under control. But in Hattiesburg at the Southern Pines Animal Shelter, they say it's unfair to just blame pit bulls for bad dog behavior.
What? Even though you hear story after story after story of pit bulls doing horrific things, biting, mutilating, no matter how often you hear that, no matter how much more often you hear pit bulls doing that, it's just unfair to blame pit bulls or to single them out as aggressive just because it's unfair. Is this an emotional thing?
Southern Pines Animal Shelter, they say it's unfair to just blame pit bulls for bad dog behavior.
What? Nobody is looking at these cases and saying, oh, this is bad dog behavior. We're seeing a pattern, nutters. We're seeing that it's your beloved bully breeds. We don't speak for us. Don't speak for us. That's all these people do.
Shelter, they say it's unfair to just blame pit bulls for bad dog behavior.
Pretty much all the bully mixes we get are like this.
Inside, pit bull supporters are proud to show off Sophie. She's 5 years old. A pit bull who plays and lives with a kitten every day.
And what is... Oh, that's a child. No, thank you. No, thank you. And they aired this. Wow. So this video, this is supposed to prove that pit bulls are harmless. See what I mean? See what I mean? This is just low IQ debate skills. I mean, this is not how you put forth an argument. They think this is the same as the dodo. They think they can just show a video of a pit bull in a t-shirt with a child not attacking people, right? A 2-minute video, and that's supposed to prove that pit bulls are harmless. Stop with this. To even show videos like this is disrespectful. It assumes that people are stupid. And only people fall for this are the stupid pit bull nutters. See, it's the pit bull nutters who soak stuff like this up because they are the ones who are the most delusional and have the lowest IQ. They're the sociopaths. They're the psychopaths. They're the people who don't care about themselves. They cannot think clearly. They don't have critical thinking skills. So all of them universally buy into this kind of stuff.
A pit bull who plays and lives with a kitten every day.
Oh man, let me skip that.
Bans make no sense if U.S. Humane Society. She says pit bull bans make no sense if you're trying to make a community safe from vicious dogs.
But having a breed ban is not going to accomplish that, because you can train aggression in a dog, you can neglect aggression into a dog, and it can be any type of breed.
But experts...
Huh? See what I mean? With the word salad, the nutter babble. What'd she say? What in the world?
Trying to make a community safe from vicious dogs.
But having a breed ban is not going to accomplish that, because you can train aggression in a dog, you can neglect aggression into a dog.
Ma'am. Oh my, see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not worried about a dog owner who trains their chihuahua to attack me. I'm not too much worried about that. If you want to train your poodle to attack me, I'm really not worried about that. I'm worried about if you're going to train a pit bull to attack me. You want to talk about people who, any dog can be trained to be violent. Yes, that's true. What's not true is that all dogs are equally as dangerous. That's not true, and you know it. That's why you avoid to even say that. Instead, they want to focus on vague things like, violence, dog bite. That is infuriating how they play dumb. Like they don't understand what we're saying. That's why I don't like, I'm going to stop taking their rhetoric seriously. It's debunked at this point. Wow. How insulting is that?
Ban is not going to accomplish that, because you can train aggression in a dog.
Wait a minute.
A community safe from vicious dogs. She says pit bull bans make no sense if you're trying to make a community safe from vicious dogs.
But having a breed ban is not going to accomplish that, because you can train aggression in a dog, you can neglect aggression into a dog, and it can be any type of dog.
Yeah. But when these things attack, even you, and this woman included, you're going to stand back. You're going to be scared to intervene. And if you do intervene, you're going to be worthless. That's the difference. And whoever's being attacked is going to be torn to shreds. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's what we're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
In a dog, you can neglect aggression into a dog, and it can be any type of breed.
But experts claim the pit bull is unusually aggressive, prone to surprise behavior, and capable of massive damage because of its jaw strength. In Ridgeland, the dog ban covers a wide definition of pit bulls because many pit bulls are a mix of some form of terrier. Since the ban went into effect...
Notice how he pointed out he actually dealt with the severity of the attack. And she didn't offer any response. He just pointed it out and moved on.
Aggressive, prone to surprise behavior, and capable of massive damage because of its jaw strength.
Okay, facts. See, they dare not try to challenge that. They're like, okay, let's move on. That was kind of anti-pit bull for them to even say that.
In Ridgeland, the dog ban covers a wide definition of pit bulls because...
And it should.
Many pit bulls are a mix of some form of terrier.
That's fine. We're talking about all of those types of dogs. Okay? That's not a problem.
Since the ban went into effect in 2009, Ridgeland hasn't had a reported dog attack.
Our animal control department...
Wait a minute, what?
Effect in 2009 because many pit bulls are a mix of some form of terrier. Since the ban went into effect in 2009, Ridgeland hasn't had a reported dog attack.
Since the ban went into effect, they haven't had a dog attack?
Our animal control department is aggressive in investigating those, and we have had instances where we've had to have dogs removed or ultimately put down.
But the dogs fell outside the confines of, say, an aggressive breed.
Yes, that's correct.
The Mississippi Animal Rescue League says it supports the idea of a measure that covers a wider definition of an aggressive dog. They contend any mixed breed can be just as dangerous depending on the circumstances. Yet at the same time, they won't adopt out pit bulls because of the risk. The shelter puts down as many as 600 a year, arguing that the animal has an unpredictable aggression. There is still a debate over pit bulls and whether they attack because of their breed or because of the way they are treated.
There's a debate. He said there's a debate over whether they attack because of their breed or because how they were treated. Oh, man. Oh, man. Dog bite. Nip. Where is that debate happening? I want to join that debate. Where is that debate happening? Or is it how they are treated? See, we're not talking about something like this. You know, you show up at a dog attack scene and you see some guy with a nip on his hand. No, right? See, this is the difference. When you show up to a pit bull attack scene, you know where the attack took place because you look and the walls are covered in blood. You got blood on the ceiling, blood trails all across the floor. You'll have chunks of meat here, chunks of meat there. You see, but the pit bull lovers want you to look at both cases as simply dog bites. Oh, it's just a dog bite incident. What's the big deal? Oh, it's just a dog bite scene. All dogs bite. That's their logic. That's their logic. Now, this is an actual crime scene. But this looks just like several pit bull attack scenes. They're gruesome. No, it's all just a dog bite. Okay. Okay, pit nutters. It's time to tune out from these pit nutters. Okay, they've proven themselves to be far too incompetent. I'm sorry, I cannot respect their arguments. Even when it comes from the Kennel Club, it sounds like drug head stuff. Like incoherent babble. I'm going to treat these people like the infantile-minded individuals that they are. I'm sorry. But their arguments are the arguments of a child. Someone who hasn't figured out how to truly make an argument. And hey, it is the start of their ending. It is what it is. Big shout out to everybody. I think this has been a very long live stream. I haven't checked the chat room in a very long time. This has been a long, my apologies. I've been babbling over 2 hours long. Boy, I've been here way too long. Shout out to everybody who's able to join me. And I will see you all tomorrow as we continue. I hope to see you all tomorrow as we continue with this crusade.